Early summer in Maplebrook, Wisconsin always carried a particular kind of optimism with it. The scent of fresh-cut lawns, the hum of lawnmowers echoing like the town's unofficial theme song, and sunlight that felt warm but not punishing. On a typical quiet cul-de-sac, the kind where neighbors waved even if they didn't remember your name, the Miller house stood in a comfortable row of 1990s suburban homes, each with wide porches, patriotic flags left over from Memorial Day, and flowerbeds whose survival depended entirely on the unpredictability of their owners. Today was one of those, just warm enough to be perfect, mornings, ideal for productivity, goal setting, and apparently, chaos. Inside the Miller household, Rachel Miller, 29, work-from-home graphic designer with a schedule that was equal parts flexible and self-destructive, sat at her kitchen island with a mug that proudly read, "I've got this, probably." Her brown hair was up in a messy bun that had shifted sideways sometime during the night, and her leggings were the same ones she'd sworn she wouldn't wear again today. She was designing a poster for the Maplebrook Summer Festival, sipping lukewarm coffee and telling herself she wasn't procrastinating. Then there was Buddy. Buddy, her golden retriever, 3 years old, tail like a windmill, brain operating at the speed of a hyperactive toddler on sugar, had woken up with more energy than legally allowed. He had already knocked over a shoe rack, chased a squirrel through the screen door, leaving the door very much not a door anymore, and now, he was doing the spin. It always started the same way. His ears perked, his eyes widened, his tail twitched like it was independently signed to another agency, and then he would start chasing it. And today, Buddy was committed. "Buddy, hey, hey," Rachel called, chasing him as he circled the living room rug like a furry tornado refusing to slow down. Her bare feet slid across the hardwood as she tried to snag him mid-rotational madness. "Buddy, this is not cardio hour, hey." He spun harder. The rug curled at the corner. A lamp trembled on the side table. The couch shook from the micro-hurricane. And somewhere deep in the chaos, Rachel wondered, how is he still spinning? Doesn't he get dizzy? Doesn't he want to stop? What is his life goal? Buddy skidded, nearly sliding into the hallway wall, regrouped, and resumed spinning with renewed spiritual commitment, like he had just attended a motivational seminar titled, "Believe in Your Tail, a 5-Step Journey." Rachel put her hands on her knees, panting as if she were the one who had been spinning. "Buddy, Buddy, please. Let's just calm down, okay? No more." He didn't calm down. Instead, he doubled speed. He spun until his fur became a blur of gold and comedic determination. He spun like he believed the meaning of life was in the tip of his tail. Outside, neighbor Greg Thompson, mid-50s, retired history teacher with a habit of minding everyone's business in a friendly but too detailed way, peeked through his fence door. "You okay in there, Rachel?" Greg called. Looked like an F2 golden retriever touched down. Rachel, still bent over with her hands on her knees, lifted one hand weakly. "We're good, everything's fine, totally normal morning." Buddy, oblivious to emotional breakdowns of humans, slammed into a laundry basket and launched a sock into the air. He lunged after it, missed, spun again, and slammed into a pillow. The pillow burst in a dramatic explosion of white fluff, floating through the sunlight like the room had decided to snow in June. Rachel looked at the feathers drifting by her face. Buddy looked at the feathers, proud. Greg slowly shook his head through the fence. "You want me to call someone? A trainer? An exorcist?" "No," Rachel shouted, brushing feathers out of her hair. "This is fine. This is growth. Character development." Buddy ran victorious laps through the feathers, tongue out, looking like he was celebrating a confetti parade thrown in his honor. Rachel groaned, collapsing onto the couch. "Buddy, why do you do this to me?" Buddy paused for the first time in 10 minutes. He stared at her. His tongue hung out. He wagged. Then he spun again. She threw her head back. Of course. By noon, Rachel had regained enough sanity to leash Buddy and take him out for a walk. Maplebrook at midday was a sweet postcard. Old oak trees casting shadows, middle schoolers biking to the gas station for slushies, little American flags waving from porch rails, and sprinklers hissing across well-manicured lawns. The aroma of someone grilling hot dogs drifted in the air, the official scent of summer freedom. Rachel tugged Buddy along the sidewalk as he sniffed everything in existence. "Listen," she said, as if Buddy were her therapist. "You need to conserve your energy. I need to conserve my sanity. We can meet in the middle, okay?" Buddy ignored her and tried to lick a mailbox. They passed by Melissa and June, two elderly sisters who walked the neighborhood every afternoon, floral blouses, sun hats, matching white sneakers, and identical opinions on everything. "Your dog is so spirited." Melissa smiled. Spirited, June scoffed. That dog looks like he's about to run for public office. Buddy wagged proudly. He's been energetic today, Rachel admitted. Dogs are wonderful mirrors of our own chaos, Melissa said wisely. Rachel blinked. Of my chaos? Oh yes. June nodded. You look like a woman who hasn't slept. I have slept, Rachel objected. They both stared at her messy hair bun, oversized t-shirt, and slightly coffee-stained leggings. Rachel sighed. Okay, fine, maybe not great sleep. Buddy rubbed his head against her leg like this was the perfect time for affection. And look at that, Melissa said. He loves you even when he acts ridiculous. That's patience. Patience, June repeated, wagging a finger. Something you need, dear. Rachel smiled politely, the universal smile of thank you for unsolicited life advice I did not ask for. Buddy tried to chase a butterfly. Rachel tried to chase Buddy. The sisters clapped as if watching an Olympic event. Later that afternoon, Rachel attempted to work again. The summer festival poster deadline hovered over her like a storm cloud ready to dump rain. She reopened her laptop, sipped reheated coffee that tasted like regret, and tried to focus. Buddy lay on the floor beside her, panting softly, the total opposite of the disco tornado he had been earlier. Rachel glanced down at him. You're calm now, really? This is the time you pick. Buddy wagged slowly, like yes, this is my serene era. Rachel shook her head. Buddy, I wish I had your energy when I needed it. I wish I didn't burn myself out before anything even starts. Buddy lifted his head. He sighed. He placed his chin on her foot in that silent, pure, I'm here, way. And as silly as it felt to admit it, that helped. In a town where everyone loved giving advice, where social media made effort look effortless, where perfection seemed like the expectation and burnout felt like the norm. Buddy somehow represented the most important lesson. You don't have to get it right on the first try. Sometimes you spin out for a while before you figure things out. And that's okay. Buddy's earlier tail chasing suddenly felt more symbolic than stupid. He wasn't failing. He was trying. In the only way he knew how. Rachel breathed in the late afternoon light filtering through the blinds, warm and comforting. She stretched her fingers and started typing. Line by line, the poster came together, bright colors, cheerful fonts, a layout that actually made her proud. Buddy yawned. Rachel smirked. Good. You stay like that. Please don't. Buddy stood. He turned. He stared at his tail. No. He wiggled his back end. No, please. He began spinning. Rachel screamed into a pillow. By sunset, the temperature cooled and the town glowed in warm orange light. Kids played basketball in driveways, parents barbecued in backyards, fireflies blinked to life in the bushes. The smell of charcoal and summertime filled the neighborhood. Rachel finally decided she'd had enough tail tornadoes for one day. Okay, Buddy, she said, clipping his leash. We're going to the park. You need space to spin where nothing fragile exists. The Maplebrick Community Park was buzzing with people, teenagers practicing TikTok dances, toddlers venturing through the playground, joggers, dog walkers, retirees feeding birds, and a handful of folks enjoying iced coffees from the local cafe. The sky transitioned into soft pink streaks that reflected off the pond. Rachel let Buddy loose in the dog area. Immediately he began spinning. The other dogs stared like he was performing interpretive dance. Rachel plopped onto the grass as Aaron Delgado, the local high school football coach and part-time dog dad, approached with his bulldog, Tank. Your dog okay? Aaron asked, eyebrows raised. He's committed, Rachel responded. Tank watched Buddy with judgment only bulldogs could deliver. Buddy spun faster. Tank grunted as if offended by the lack of dignity. You know, Aaron said, sitting beside her, sometimes dogs chase their tails because they're figuring out their balance. Or burning extra energy. Or they're just goofy. Buddy's all three. You ever notice he always keeps trying? Even when he looks ridiculous? Rachel laughed. Every single day. That's something. Aaron shrugged. Humans quit fast. Dogs, keep going. Rachel stared at Buddy. The golden blur. The embodiment of joyful persistence. The canine version of try again, even if you failed weirdly the first time. And somehow, the message landed. Buddy had been teaching her this whole time. She just needed to slow down long enough to see it. Even if he hadn't. The sun dipped fully below the trees, casting the park in that cool breeze, blue-tinted hour of serenity. Buddy finally slowed his spinning, panting with his tongue hanging out like a red necktie he'd forgotten to take off. Rachel approached him, kneeling. She gently cupped his face. Hey, Tornado. You know, you actually teach me a lot. Buddy wagged weakly. I panic too fast, she continued softly. I try to force everything. I want results instantly, and when it doesn't work, I feel like I'm failing, like chasing something I can never catch. Buddy nuzzled her cheek. But you don't give up. You don't care if you look silly. You just keep trying. Buddy licked her nose. Rachel laughed, wiping her face. Gross, but thank you. She stood, leash in hand. Come on, Buddy, let's go home. We'll try again tomorrow, but calmly. Like reasonable creatures. Buddy wagged. He took 3 steps. Then he looked at his tail. Rachel gasped. Don't you dare. He spun. She chased him. Aaron laughed in the distance. Tank judged silently. And the fireflies began twinkling around them, as if the whole world decided to sparkle at Buddy's dedication. Morning arrived in Maple-Brick with that soft, gold-tinted sunlight that slipped between houses like it was politely letting itself in. A thin mist hung over the front lawns, hovering right above the dew-soaked grass, a quiet sign that last night's coolness hadn't fully left yet. The birds were awake, the garbage trucks were already lumbering through the cul-de-sac, and the Miller house was suspiciously quiet. Rachel woke up slowly, blinking at her ceiling as if trying to remember what life was supposed to feel like. Her alarm hadn't gone off yet, her brain wasn't panicking, and for once she didn't feel like she'd fallen asleep inside a tornado. Which was ironic, considering she lived with one. She sat up, yawned, stretched, and froze. Where was Buddy? No jingling collar. No tail thumping. No, good morning, let's sprint until someone passes out, energy. She narrowed her eyes. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Silence is not peace. Silence is danger. She rushed downstairs. And there he was. Buddy wasn't spinning. He wasn't knocking things over. He wasn't doing interpretive chaos gymnastics. He was sitting calmly in the living room, tail wagging slowly, proudly, like a student waiting for the teacher to say he did well on the assignment. Rachel blinked. Buddy, you're calm. Buddy wagged. She approached slowly, suspiciously, like she was approaching a wild deer she didn't want to scare off. What did you do? Buddy simply leaned forward and gently nudged her knee with his nose. Huh, she said. Okay, now I'm terrified. But as the minutes passed, Buddy remained surprisingly composed. He walked normally. He ate breakfast without flinging food. He sat next to Rachel while she drank her coffee, occasionally resting his head on her thigh. It felt illegal. Like Buddy had downloaded a patch update overnight. Rachel sipped her coffee, studying him. All right, who kidnapped my dog and replaced him with a calm decoy? Buddy tilted his head. No spin. Not even a wiggle. Rachel gasped. Oh my God, did the universe finally hear my prayers? She set her coffee down dramatically. Buddy, have you discovered patience? Buddy wagged. Are you enlightened? Buddy wagged faster. Rachel clasped her hands together, whispering, is this what parental pride feels like? The calmness lasted a full 2 hours, which, in Buddy time, was longer than most Marvel movie sagas. Feeling confident, Rachel opened her laptop and got to work on revising the summer festival poster. Outside, the neighborhood was starting its typical Saturday. People washing cars, kids riding scooters, someone blasting classic rock too loudly from their garage. Buddy curled up beside her chair like an angel sent from above. But then, the tail twitched. Just a tiny twitch. Like the prequel to a disaster movie. Rachel didn't notice at first. She was deeply focused, adjusting fonts and colors. Buddy's tail twitched again, and again, then swayed like it was warming up for a solo performance. His back foot tapped the floor. His hips made a small, suspicious scoot. And then, he turned his head ever so slightly toward that familiar golden temptation. Rachel, still typing, sensed the disturbance like a mother feeling her toddler sneak toward a wall outlet. Her eyes widened. Her head snapped down. Don't you do it. Buddy froze. Tail mid-sway. Eyes huge. Caught. Rachel pointed at him. Buddy, this morning was magical. Let us not ruin the miracle. Please. Buddy looked at her. Then he looked at his tail. Then back at her. Then. He didn't spin. He whimpered softly and placed his head down, resisting temptation like a monk in training. Rachel gasped. Buddy, you chose calm. You resisted chaos. Oh my God, you're growing. You actually have character development. Buddy wiggled but didn't spin. Rachel almost cried from pride. Until the mail arrived. The moment the mail slot clattered, Buddy leapt up like a soldier hearing a battle horn. He ran. He barked. He slid. He barked again. He launched himself into a glorious chaos spiral directly toward the front door. and as he reached maximum excitement, his tail twitched. His hips rotated. Rachel screamed, "No!" Buddy spun. But something new happened. He only spun twice, then stopped. He looked dizzy. He looked confused. Then he looked at Rachel. He walked to her slowly, and he pressed his face into her leg. Rachel knelt beside him, rubbing his ears. "You stopped yourself." Buddy wagged softly. "You didn't give in to chaos. You didn't overdo it. You're learning patience." Buddy licked her cheek once, then sat. Rachel felt something warm bloom in her chest, something that wasn't exhaustion or frustration or feather pillow trauma. Pride. Real pride. Buddy wasn't perfect. He wasn't supposed to be. He was just getting a little better, a little calmer, a little more patient. And maybe that meant she could, too. By afternoon, Maplebrook's summer festival crowd had started gathering at the town square, carnival booths going up, food trucks parking, string lights zigzagging overhead. Rachel packed her laptop, grabbed Buddy's leash, and walked toward downtown. The sky was a perfect bright blue, warm but with a gentle breeze. Buddy pranced beside her like he knew he had graduated from Chaos University with a minor in self-control. In the square, tables were stacked with lemonade pitchers, homemade crafts, and donation jars for the high school booster club. The smell of kettle corn floated in the air, and country pop music played from large speakers near the gazebo. Neighbors waved as they passed. Greg, Melissa, June, and even Aaron Delgado, who was helping set up a cornhole tournament with Tank supervising from the shade. Aaron spotted Buddy. "He looks calm today." Rachel grinned proudly. "He's been working on himself." Tank snorted. Aaron patted Buddy. "Good job, Buddy. Growth is real." Buddy soaked it in like applause. Rachel set up her laptop at a festival table to show off her poster draft to the planning committee. As she talked with City Council member Eve Holbrook, Buddy sat beside her nicely, observing the hectic setup like a wise dog who had recently discovered inner peace. Eve nodded, approving the design. "This is perfect. Bright, friendly, very Maplebrook." Rachel beamed. "Thanks." A corn dog dropped somewhere behind them. Buddy's ears lifted. Rachel froze. "No," she whispered. "Stay strong." Buddy's internal battle began visibly. A trembling desire to chase the smell, to run, to grab, to spin, to lose all progress. His tail wiggled. He turned. Rachel squeezed her eyes shut. "Please, Buddy, please choose growth." Buddy inhaled deeply through his nose, sat down, and stayed. Rachel's jaw dropped so dramatically a gust of wind could have closed it. Eve blinked. "Wow, he's really disciplined." Rachel nodded in shock. He is. Buddy lifted his chin proudly. Rachel knelt, hugging him. "Buddy, that was huge. I'm so impressed with you." Buddy's tail thumped gently, a soft, patient rhythm, not a cyclone. He was changing. Not perfectly, not instantly, but step by step. And sometimes, that was enough.
Daily happiness and motivation is hidden in. Like and subscribe.